Ambros Adelwarth, from The Emigrants by W.G. Sebald.
I have barely any recollection of my great-uncle Ambros Adelwarth. I am only certain of having seen him once, in the summer of 1951, when the Americans, Uncle Casimir and Lena, Aunt Fini and Uncle Theo and Aunt Therese, who was unmarried, all came to stay with us in Wertach, in the Bavarian Alps. During their stay, the in-laws from Kempten and Lechbrook came over for a few days. Emigrants, as you know, tend to flock together. And it was at this reunion of almost 60 members of the family that I saw my great-uncle for the first and, I believe, the last time. Naturally, amidst the general upheaval, he at first made no more impression on me than any of the others, but when he was called upon as the eldest of the emigrants, and as 'twere their forerunner, to address the gathered clan, all seated at long trestle tables in the village hall, my attention was inevitably drawn to him. He rose, tapped his glass with a small spoon, and began to speak. He was not a particularly tall man, but his presence seemed to enhance the self-esteem of everyone present, even though, and as a 7-year-old I spotted this at once, he easily outclassed them all. His effortless German bore not a trace of our home dialect, and he used words and turns of phrase whose meanings I could only guess at. Well, after that for me truly memorable appearance, Uncle Ambros vanished for good on the mail bus the following day. And of his death 2 years later, let alone its circumstances, I knew nothing at all. Probably because of the sudden demise of Uncle Theo at around the same time. Theo's death placed Aunt Fini, his wife, in an extremely difficult situation, and it was Fini who had always brought us news of Uncle Adelwarth. She stopped coming over from America for the summer, and Uncle Casimir, too, visited less and less often. I suppose those summer visits from our relatives were the reason why I imagined I too would one day emigrate to America. In the evenings and during the endless lessons at the monastery school, I envisioned each detail of my American future, criss-crossing the States in every direction, now on horseback, now in a dark brown Oldsmobile. This phase peaked between the ages of 16 and 17 in my attempt to cultivate the mental and physical attributes of the Hemingway hero, a project doomed to failure, for many reasons. By the time I was a student, I'd developed such a deep-rooted aversion from all things American, nothing could have seemed more ludicrous than the idea I might ever go there of my own free will. Nevertheless, on January the 2nd, 1981, I arrived at Newark Airport from Heathrow, armed with a notepad and a tape recorder. Heading south from Newark on the New Jersey Turnpike in the direction of Lakehurst. Dark and dreary day. On the right, a truly mountainous rubbish truck. A jet! A jumbo jet just took off from behind this rubbish mountain, like some prehistoric monster lumbering into the sky with a tail of black smoke. For a moment, I thought it had just spread its wings. The cause of my change of heart was a photograph album of my mother's. This had come into my hands a few months earlier, and contained pictures of relatives who had emigrated during the Weimar years. The longer I studied the faces, the more urgently I felt the need to learn about the lives of these people. I was driving to Cedar Glen West, a retirement community set in marshland a few miles off the parkway and surrounded by blueberry fields. Aunt Fini and Uncle Casimir had both bought bungalows there when they left the Bronx in the mid-70s. It's an old people's colony. Bungalow condominium after bungalow condominium, all indistinguishable. It's just before nightfall, and almost every front garden has the same illuminated Father Christmas. Shouldn't be too hard to find Aunt Fini's, though. The planners of Cedar Glen West clearly had an
Sample complete. Ready to continue?